It's now just over a year since we began sharing technical details of PlayStation 5, but today's the day that we've been looking forward to for years, when we get to show you just some of the games that demonstrate our belief that PlayStation 5 marks the biggest generational transition our industry has yet seen. The content we've curated for today's event showcases how PS5 has inspired developers to create new experiences that are transformative in how they look, sound, and feel. Enough from me. We're going to have the games do our talking.
Oh man, brothers and sisters, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to a special episode of the Analog Circle podcast, guys. Now, this has become tradition at the Analog Circle podcast. Now, unfortunately, this year, since E3 has been canceled, I have not been able to take off the proper days to cover this stuff. Now, I know I'm 6 years late covering the PlayStation 5 event, but it's tradition. I had to record an episode about this, and my gosh, did Sony come out the gate swinging with the reveal of the PlayStation 5. So without further ado, I am not gonna hold you guys long here. I just want to give my thoughts and just walk through this entire PS5 reveal. So at first they started off with the montage going back to 1995 when they first came on the scene, getting the feels going about what has made PlayStation what it is today. It was a great montage. I loved it. After that was finished, the first game they showed, and this was a very interesting choice, was they showed GTA 5. Now, the game is coming to the PlayStation 5, and it's going to be expanded and enhanced, and it's releasing in 2021. Now, also on the PlayStation 4, you get $1 million in GTA 5 cash every month until the game releases on the PlayStation 5. I can't believe it. They're doing a remaster of the remaster. Rockstar, you better be working on GTA 6. Anyway, I'll move on to the fireworks. Let's get into the daggone fireworks of the show, because then things out the gate, it just started with a bang. Boom! They showed off Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is a PlayStation 5 game, and it releases holiday 2020. Wow! Who the world saw this coming? I sure didn't. I didn't think it was going to happen. I know people were talking about, hey, maybe it's a possibility they'll show something off. Yeah, maybe a logo, a Spider-Man logo or something like that. But this is a game starring Miles Morales. Now, granted, it has been confirmed. This is not a sequel. This is not what you would call, I guess, a full-fledged game. This is more on the lines of maybe Uncharted Lost Legacy, or what was it? Second Light, infamous Second Light, or First Light, somewhere along those lines. And I think it is brilliant for people that are upset, that say that this should be on the PlayStation 4. Sony is doggone knocking out 115 million people plus from playing this game. This is anti-consumer. All of that stuff that you say, I say, oh well, deal with it. Because right now, PlayStation is doing what they have to do. They are making sure, they are dangling a carrot out there saying, guess what? If you want to play this, you got to get it on the PlayStation 5. It's a way of them getting people to get into the PlayStation 5's ecosystem. You already heard Jim Ryan say they want to make this transition as easy as possible. And if they are dangling these games out there that they know everybody wants to play, or a large amount of people want to play it, then that's what they're going to do. Hey, hey, this will help move the PlayStation 5 into the position we want it to be in a little sooner than maybe it would be. This is what we're going to do. It is business, people. It's business. Microsoft and Sony, two totally different strategies going back and forth. Here you have Sony. They are going with what has worked. They are going with the traditional route of what gaming is. You want the new stuff, you gotta buy the new console. Stop crying and whining about it. This is fantastic. I applaud Sony. Hey man, listen. Kudos to y'all. Kudos to you, Sony, for saying this is what we're doing. We're standing on our square. If you want to get down, get a PlayStation 5. Anyway, after that bombshell was dropped on us, next they showed off Gran Turismo 7, which looked good. It looked really good, but it had no release date. It had that cockpit view going or whatever. It looked real nice. I mean, the interiors, man, looked great. Look good. So after that, now, oh my gosh, this game right here, whoo, I have been waiting for this one for some time now. Now, the next game they showed off, if you don't know what I'm talking about, that had me jump out of my seat. It was, good grief. It was just from so much excitement. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, which looked unbelievable. Absolutely incredible. Now, the game will have, now this was interesting, because the developer said, and my voice is shot, man. I've been yelling, cheering, and screaming all god doggone weekend. So pardon me about my voice. But they said that this game will have ray tracing. Now, I believe it was a ray tracing model on Clank or something like that. I said a model. It was some ray tracing on Clank's face or something like that. So, it is going to have ray tracing in the game. And I have to say this. I just got to say this game is a graphical showpiece. It almost looks like Pixar levels. Now, granted, I'm talking 2, maybe 3 years ago, I would not have cared. Yeah, the game would have looked good to me. I would have said, oh man, kudos. Ratchet and Clank games have always looked nice. But since I have played Ratchet and Clank on the PlayStation 4, which was my very, very first Ratchet and Clank game, I have been a huge fan. So this, once again, is another PlayStation 5 exclusive. Now, unfortunately, no release date was given at this time, but I'm hoping hard that this is sometime in the release window of the console, launch release of the console. Geez, it looks like Insomniac is paying off dividends already for the upcoming generation of the PlayStation 5. Already they're going to have Miles Morales, Spider-Man, that game out there, and they're going to have Ratchet and Clank. I can't think that it's going to be following much later. I think it'll be much sooner than later. 2 huge games for a brand new platform. Things, they just shot out the out the cannon like a cannonball, just boom. But trust me, we're gonna get to some more stuff. Now, the next game they showed was a Square Enix game called Project Ethia, which also is a PlayStation 5 exclusive. This game right here didn't really move my meter too much. I thought it was Final Fantasy 16. I'm gonna be honest with you. It looked a whole lot like Final Fantasy 15, but Project Ethia, it didn't really move me. But anyway, after that game, so next up was a very interesting looking game called Stray, which looks like it will star I guess he's gonna be a stray cat living on the streets with some robots or something. Almost looked like a cyberpunk kind of esque world, but there were no human beings. It was all robots, and this cat is just strolling around. I don't know what's going on there too much. Game looked interesting. Graphically, it looked pretty cool. Didn't look like anything mind-blowing, but it looked good enough. It really piqued my interest a bit. So after that, another PlayStation 5 exclusive, which looked pretty good. And it seems like it's going to be like a Groundhog day in space kind of game. But overall, it looked pretty good, and it's called Returnal. Now, it kind of looked like Mass Effect Andromeda a little bit. Kind of had some shooting mechanics or whatever. Didn't look too bad. Kind of like a third-person perspective shooter. Looks like the woman is reliving the same day over and over, where she dies, she comes back to life, and, you know, she's reliving the same stuff over and over again. Very interesting concept. A game that I would keep my eye on. I wasn't like super high on the game, but it looked very interesting nonetheless. Now, the next game that was shown, oh man, now see, if I didn't have a bit of a connection to the character, I'd have been like, here we go, brothers, this is not looking good. But up next was Sackboy: A Big Adventure, which it kind of reminded me of a bit of a Mario Odyssey type of platformer. Now, I mean, it does look like it could be fun. That's all I can say. I'm a big Little Big Planet fan. I've been a fan of Sackboy since when he first released on the PlayStation 3 on Little Big Planet, and the game looked like it was fun. Looked like it was a lot of fun, but man, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna say this, man. Let me get a drink here. Hold on, goddamn. My voice gonna give out before I finish this doggone podcast. Hold on, man. Oh man, I needed that. God dog, I needed that. But now, I'm gonna say this. The theme of this show. Oh, it gets bad. I'm already put it out there. I don't want to hear anybody talking about Microsoft and their kitty games, because after this was shown, they showed off. Now I gotta say, after Sackboy was shown, they had showed off a pretty cool looking game that I would definitely play, because to a certain extent it reminded me of Burnout. Now, it was called Destruction All-Stars. Now, no release date was given, and I mean, to be honest, it even looked like a bit of a Rocket League kind of game. Had some Rocket League elements, but when they jumped out the car and they were running from the cars, it just looked like a really, really fun time. Little cartoony, a little Bleeding Edge-esque kind of looking, but it looked like it could be a fun game. I haven't seen a Destruction kind of derby game since Destruction Derby on the PlayStation, the original. So to have this game being released, at first I thought it was the game by Ubisoft called Rollerball that was supposed to be like Roller Derby or something like that, but I haven't heard anything about that since last year's E3. And I mean, this is what we got, so it doesn't look bad. Is it a game that I would pick up? I doubt it, because it looks like it's going to probably concentrate more so on online play. And you guys know I don't really go online too much to play. I'm more of a single player type of story driven gamer myself. But for people out there that like Rocket League and, you know, enjoy the card games where you're crashing into each other, I mean, it could be dope. Who knows? That's a bit of the, I guess what you call the fight between what will I get it or not. If it's single player and it doesn't need to be online because it looks like Burnout, I would definitely get it if it's a single player campaign or something like that. But if it's not, then more than likely I wouldn't get it. But anyway, after that game was shown, the next game they showed, which looked kind of nice too, was a game called Kenya Bridge of Spirits. Now, it looked a little like Fable. It had like a Fable aesthetic to it, and it looked like it kinda, now this is no diss, this is no shot, this is no shade, but it kinda looked a little bit like Grounded to me. It didn't look like it was a super graphical powerhouse where it was using all of those 10.2 teraflops to tear up the screen, but at the same time, it looked good. It really looked like a very interesting game. I think I would give this a shot. We'll see. But after that was shown, the next title that they showed was like, I mean, what was it? Hold on. Yeah, this next game, I kinda I kind of said, what the world is going on? I think this was when the show started to dip a little bit for me because, I started wondering, is this a telltale game? Is this like a Life is Strange kind of game? Because I mean, God dog, you had pterodactyl face girls in high school and what, I don't know what the frick. They were in a rock band and I mean, the name of the game is called, Goodbye Volcano High. I don't know what the heck we doing here, PlayStation. I have no clue. But it was really no gameplay. Looked like it was kind of like an anime-esque light kind of stuff. Man, I don't know what the heck is going on. It was just all animals in a high school. The girl was in a band with some ripped up jeans. I said, I don't think this is it, Sway. This ain't the answer. But anyway, after that, I don't know what the heck, but that game releases in 2021. I know I'm not getting that for a goddamn fact. Now, wouldn't it be messed up? And I'd be such a hypocrite. That game come out and I say, man, it's $5, man. Let me go ahead and give it a shot. Anyway, let's go ahead. Now, the next game they showed, I got very excited over because I have been waiting to hear something about this game since last year when I first saw it. And of course, man, my voice is busted. Y'all had to pardon me. I gotta keep telling y'all that. I'm sorry. But the next game was Oddworld Soulstorm, which looks fantastic. I'm not even an Oddworld gamer. It's never been my jam since the original Xbox. I've never played them. The Stranger, Oddworld Stranger, none of those games. But last year, I was looking at, I believe it was Digital Foundry. They had the guy on their show, and he was showing off the game. Whoa, that game looks good. It's a side scroller, but the physics in the game looks so good, man. I'm very, very excited to get my hands on that. Is it a PlayStation 5 exclusive? I don't know. I'm not sure. But also, the other thing about this game is it had no release date. So I don't know if it's coming out later next year or a year from now. Who the world knows? But that game really got my attention. I'm really, really looking forward to that one. Now, the next game they showed was Ghostwire, which is of course a first-person shooter. I wasn't really impressed with that. No, it didn't do it for me. But that's going to release in 2021. Nah, wasn't for me, Jack. This is when the show, oh man, it started going down. So that was one that I didn't like. Then the next game they showed off was Jet. Jet the Far Shore. Now that releases this year in holiday season. And again, not impressed at all. I was starting to yawn a little bit at this point. Now, the next game they showed, now I have to say this had to be the most overhyped game months ago, and it was, of course, Godfall, which looked okay. It didn't look horrible. But you guys remember how that trailer that they showed, they were saying this is real-time gameplay of how the actual game is going to look. Man, you lied. Lies, I say. Godfall, it doesn't look like a horrible game, but it darn sure didn't look like that trailer. Not at all. That was a fail. In my opinion, if you're talking about that the game is going to look like the trailer and then you see the game and it's like, oh man, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to crap on it. It wasn't a bad looking game. It just wasn't what they advertised that it was supposed to be. So that's a pass for me. It didn't really move my barometer meter at all. Now the next game they showed, it looked interesting, but it looked like a AA game. Now, it's called Solar Ash. Now, that releases in 2021. Once again, it didn't really move me too much. And at this point, I'm like, golly, this is the low point. This is the low point of the show. And I mean, it just amazed me that they started out so strong, similar to how Xbox did with that first game they showed, Bright Memory. They started off with a bang, But as the show went on, I like that Xbox show. It will not be any slander on the Xbox doggone show in May. Anyway, let's stick with PlayStation here. God darn. So the next game they showed was by IO Interactive, and you guys know what they do. They do Hitman. Whoop-de-doo. Another game that I'm really not into. I wish IO would try their hand at something else. I mean, I don't think Hitman is like the answer. I don't think so. Once again, not that impressed. Didn't really move me either way. I said, man, it's a Hitman game. Third party. Who cares? That's going to be out in January 2021. And, whatever. So the next game, god dang it, PlayStation. God dang it. The next game, here we go. Another one. Another kiddie game. Now, they showed Astro's Playroom, and that has no release date. I'm like, god dang. God dog. How could you start out so strong, Sony? How could you have such an amazing bit of games in the beginning, and in the middle, you are starting to fizzle the heck out? Astrobot, man, I know that on the VR side, it is one of the most amazing PlayStation VR games out there. But here you have a doggone game, Astrobot, and I believe it's the Playroom. Did I say it was the Playroom? Playroom, which says to me that this might not even be a full-fledged game. But nonetheless, I was like, man, this ain't it. But I will say the next game that they showed, which had like this Tim Burton kind of art style to it, it looks like it's going to be like a hack and slash. It's called Little Devil Inside. And that game, I was like, oh, this is kind of interested. This don't look bad at all. When he jumped on top of the creature, and then he like put the rope on him or whatever, and then he jumped off and he like pulled the rope, and you saw an explosion, boom, and you saw the creature like fall down. I was like, oh, this looks good. This looks like something I could get into. He was hacking and slashing. And the funny thing about this game, now I don't know if it's is this a game taking place inside of somebody's body? Because a couple of scenes, I'm trying to get it together here, y'all. It was a few scenes you saw somebody sleeping, and then as they were sleeping, you would see the camera like zoom into whatever the main character was doing. One time the guy was on a toilet, and then they zoomed. Well, he was on the toilet, and then it was like a bomb was set, and then the bomb like it was referenced like he had birded it out, you know what I'm saying, out of his rear end. And it was like, man, I don't know what's going on with the game. I don't know if it's taking in place in a place inside of a human body and not kind of some osmosis or whatever. I don't know. It was very interesting, but nonetheless, though, I'll say I was very impressed. I was pretty impressed with that one. That one got me a little excited. Doggone Little Devil Inside. Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that. Now, the next game that they showed, again, this is a multi-plat. It was a 2K21, where they had Zion up there. I mean, the model looked cool. He looked good, but it's nothing that I'm going to get excited about because it's a multi-plat. It's 2K. Everybody's going to be able to play it. No big deal. Graphically, it looked good, though. It was a nice graphical showpiece, but I will say, we got to be fair. It was no gameplay shown. Once again, just a glorified demo of Zion's face and him dunking and whatnot. Looked great. Will the game models look like that in real time? Will the sweat profusely running down the face look that good in real time? I don't know. I mean, 2K is a heck of a beautiful game. They have always had a high standard when it comes to graphical fidelity. I'm sure they're going to do great, but I don't know if the models are going to look that good. Am I hopeful? Absolutely. It would be wonderful to see the game look that great in real time. Oh man, are you kidding me? I would love it. But is it going to be that good? We'll have to wait and see. So the next game that they showed after this, and I think we're coming to the end. We got a little bit left. God dog. Okay. The next game now, I don't know. Yeah, this was another kiddie game, man. This Joker came out the strawberries and whatnot with the eyes and just having a good time enjoying his life. All of a sudden, a purple looking cat with some saber-toothed teeth bit him and said, "Oi, mate, this is delicious." And then all of a sudden, her hand or arm start turning into strawberries. I'm like, what the world is going on here, Sony? Sony, what are you doing? Again, another kiddie game. And this is what I'm saying. I don't want to hear the slander over on Microsoft's side. I'm going to have to check myself. Man, no, forget that. I give all of them this work. All of them get the work. When Sony does some stuff that's messed up, I call it out. If Microsoft is doing some stuff, well, let's just say that I don't personally like, because there's no right or wrong answer. It's just based on preferences. If it's not something that I like, I'm going to say I ain't like it. And this, once again, was a game where I'm like, man, what the heck is going on? I mean, I ain't gonna lie, though. That little theme song they was singing, I was kind of lit. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, oh, man, it's a nice sing-alongable kind of song for a kid. It's pretty nice. But as far as me playing it, oh, man, you got to be kidding me. Once again, AA game. This part of the show was just a low for me. I just said, I don't know about this. Anyway, after the strawberries and the purple cats got off of the screen, the next game that they showed was this was a big game for many. Definitely not for me. And this might have already debunked that rumor that we had went over a couple of weeks ago. Excuse me, talking about what Blue Point was working on with Jack and Daxter remake and Souls. What was it? Souls King. What I can't remember the name of it. But this game by Blue Point, Demon Souls remake. It is real. Now, the game didn't have a release date, but I know this was one that a lot of people were looking forward to. A lot of people have been talking about it for over a year now, and now it's officially out there. And has a trailer, so it definitely is happening, but we just don't know when it will release. Now, the next game was a PlayStation 5 exclusive. Now, okay. What I'm doing here is I wrote down notes, little things to help me to remember what game was what, because they showed quite a few of them. So that's why I'm like, that's it. So this next one was a game we saw last year at Bethesda's E3 show, actually, and I believe it's called Deathloop, where this is another game. It's a first-person shooter, and I mean, it doesn't look bad. I mean, it actually reminds me, it has like this grindhouse kind of style to it. It kind of reminds me of the art style. You guys might remember a game back in the 360 era, in the PlayStation 3 era, that was by Bethesda. Well, it wasn't Bethesda. I mean, they actually produced it, but it was another development team. But anyway, the game was called Wet. And that game was really, really good. It actually reminds me of that art style. That game, Wet, I don't know if that got the props it deserved. It was not a bad game at all. It had that grindhouse style to it, slow motion, kind of gunplay. It was a great game. But like I said, this kind of reminded me of that art style. Didn't really move me. I wasn't too pumped up about it. I think the concept, once again, seems like this is a new thing that's going to be in gaming, where your character's dying and he's coming back to life, and he got to, replay some of the same things over and over again till they get it right. But for me, Deathloop, it just didn't do it for me. Aesthetically, it didn't look like anything amazing. It didn't move me at all. So after that game was shown, the next game was one that we heard rumors about, and rumors about it being shown. Okay, this was Resident Evil 8 Village, which I gotta say, it's a multiplat. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Everybody's going to be able to enjoy this, but it looked good. It looked good enough. It's definitely not a game that I'm going to be interested in. I didn't play RE7. I kind of prefer the over-the-shoulder Resident Evils, even though Resident Evil 7 got a lot of great acclaim and people loved it. Even people that were purists that loved the original RE style of being able to see your character, they even said that the game was good. So, I mean, it's not for me, but I'm definitely not knocking it. It looked good. It looked like something that could be very, very interesting. I mean, we saw Chris Redfield. He lit somebody up. Just pow, 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 pow. And the guy was like, why? Chris, why? I mean, it looks like he's older. He done picked up a little weight. Got a little chunky, man, got a little stomach. I'm like, God, dog, man, this don't even look like the Chris that we knew back in the PlayStation 2 and 3 era. This guy's like an older dude. Look like he in his 50s right now. So it's just very interesting to see what kind of role he will play in the game. Like I said, I doubt that I will experience it or play through it, but anything can change. We'll see. But after that, we saw, what do I have down here? Yeah, it was this, it was interesting. Again, it was a CG trailer, and it's called, Pragmata. Now, this is going to release in 2022, and it may have this was that one where they had that holographic looking cat, and the little girl, I thought she was real until they zoomed in on her eyes, and it looked like she could have been some kind of AI or a drone or something like that. And the guy, he had actually broke through. It looked like some kind of Matrix where he picked the little girl up, and all of a sudden they get whisked away somewhere, and they're looking at the earth. And they're like, the girl said something, and he said, what does this mean? And he was like, freedom. So I don't know what the heck is going on. Holographic cats and stuff. Anyway, the game is called Pragmata. It was a dog. Like I said, CG needs to go away. We need gameplay. We don't even know what that game looks like at all. So it didn't really move me too much. I was like, it looks interesting. Looks like it could be something, but who knows? So, I think, are we at the last game? Okay. Oh, yes, we are. Now, the final game that they showed off was Horizon. They're not calling it Zero Dawn. It's Horizon 2, something to the west or something west. I didn't get the name of it, but God, dog, wow. What a showstopper. What a show. Did you guys see how the underwater scene looked? The underwater life? That game looked unbelievable. And we knew that it was rumors that the game was going to be there. We saw that the official Horizon Zero Dawn Twitter account tweeted out, join us for the show. And man, even though it was very limited, it wasn't a whole lot of gameplay shown. You could see where it was gameplay and where it wasn't. And I mean, that game looks like a showpiece. So my hat definitely goes off to Guerrilla Games. Golly, what a great looking game. That kind of made the show swing back up for me a little bit. I was like, yeah, this is nice. Now, after that, everybody thought that the show was over. Everybody figured that this is it. We're about to get on up out of our seats or wherever we were at and leave because, we didn't know if it was going to happen, but they did reveal the PlayStation 5 console, and I must say, golly, that joint to me, oh man, I love the design. It looks like something that is futuristic looking. Now I understand it's gotten the memes with it looks like a router. It looks like a sandwich from Taco Bell. I've seen a lot of the memes and they are hilarious. But to me, It is a great looking design. I really, really like it. Man, it's sleek. I don't know how tall it is. They're saying, reports are saying that it's bigger than the Series X, which is like, wow, good grief, joint must be huge. But, I thought it was great. But the thing that I don't think any of us saw coming was they also showed off the all digital PlayStation 5. Now, before we talk about the all digital, the sad PlayStation 5, I think we heard, ladies and gentlemen, that Sony does not need to follow Microsoft. Microsoft are the losers this generation. You don't follow behind what losers do in a generation. You make your own mark. Well, oh my. All of a sudden, here you have the leader of the pack, 110 plus million sales sold of the PlayStation 4, and you have them following behind Microsoft, who might have sold between 45 and 50 million units, which is an amazing number. It's not a fail by a long shot. But here you had so many people. They're not going to do anything that Microsoft is doing. And here you have a discless PlayStation 5. Now, this is going to be so interesting because I don't know. I don't know how this is going to play out. I have no idea. But are one of those models cheaper? Are one of those models the one that is going to go up against? If it does happen, we still don't know. But is it going to be going up against Lockhart? I don't know, man. It's going to be so interesting to see what happens with this. But, guys, that was the end of the show, man. And, I tell you, they also showed off the headphones, HD camera, which I think I should be 4K. Should have got, I don't know. But, and they also showed off, headphones, HD camera, and a remote. Man, he took it back to the remote, dog, on original Xbox days and whatnot. What the frick is going on, Saudi? But anyway, though, overall, I'm going to tell y'all, I didn't think it was a bad show. I would have gave it, I gave it a lot of flack, for the games that fell flat for me. But overall, we gotta talk about the production value in the show. Wow. The production was top notch. Man, they really put on a great, solid show. Showing off Spider-Man Miles Morales, showing off Ratchet and Clank, which was the game that I was anticipating the most. Once they showed that off, I'm gonna be honest with you, I was sold. I was done. I said, that's all I needed to see, and it looked amazing. Seeing him jumping from different dimensions with zero load time. Ooh! That SSD is working, man. It is working. And just how beautiful the game looked. I can truly say that Spider-Man and Ratchet and Clank, those two, after those, everything was just bonus. Everything else was just gravy. And then showing off Horizon, 2 something to the west or whatever, those 3 games, and then the reveal of the PlayStation 5 itself, those things saved the show for me. On top of that, like I said, Inside Devil or whatever, that game looked really interesting. That's one that I definitely want to try out. Had a cool art style to it. The stray or the cat strays or whatever, it looked interesting enough. I'm like, man, I don't know how the world that's going to really play, but it looked cool enough on top of a few other games. Hold on, let me go through the list. I'm about to wrap this up in a second, though, but it was just a few games in there that I absolutely liked. The Sackboy Big Adventure, I'm like, man, I can rock with that. So overall, they showed me enough as a gamer to say, you know what? I would give the show a solid 8. I think it was 8 worthy. It was a lot of great things shown. They had a lot of variety. A lot of the variety wasn't for me per se, but I appreciated that they at least put some stuff in there for everybody. Now, I'll say, outside of that, once again, when Microsoft comes to the stage in July, oh man, they gotta bring some fire. They have to, but I don't think if they start showing off these kiddie games, because so many people were like, oh man, Sony did a perfect 10. It was an amazing show. I'm like, I don't think it was a 10, brother. It definitely has some dips in the doggone gaming quality, and I don't think they showed off many games. They showed off a few. Horizon 2 and Ratchet and Clank. Those were the two that I think were the most graphically impressive. Ratchet and Clank definitely, to me, was the most impressive, but Horizon 2, I don't think you could ever undercut that and say that wasn't amazing as well. Those two games were the only ones to me that showed off what the PlayStation 5's power can be. But that's gonna wrap it up here, guys. Man, I was your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and 8.0. What would you give it? I would love to hear from you. You can call in at 443-216-9934 and let your voice be heard. Man, my voice is tore the heck up, man. But let me know something, man. Or email the show, and the email address is theanalogcirclepodcast@gmail.com. I was your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and man, oh man, I'm going to get the heck up out of here. And with that being said, man, just enjoy yourself.
At PlayStation, we believe in generational transitions, and we put years of work into making them happen. We want you to enjoy the unique benefits of moving from one generation to the next. Thank you for joining us. We're launching later this year, and we have tons more to share. Welcome to PlayStation 5.